Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. One of the most important groundbreaking musicals of the 20th century is Alfred Ury and Jason Robert Brown's masterwork, Parade. Following a critically acclaimed, sold-out run this past fall at City Center's famed Encores, it has come to Broadway under the direction of Michael Arden and stars Ben Platt and Micaela Diamond. And I caught up with all of them here at the Lambs Club leading up to their opening night. It is great to be sitting with both of you. Tell me what Parade means to both of you personally.
Oh my.
It's a big question to start with.
It's a big question.
Yeah. I mean, we're both musical theater nerds, and speaking personally, it's definitely a show that has been like a gem in the musical theater canon that I've admired since I was young, particularly as a Jew, and a lover of Jason Robert Brown. I was familiar with like pieces of the score growing up, and then slowly as I became a teenager and got older, I got a full picture of the story of the Franks and what the show really was. And it was always on my list of dream parts and dream projects at some point. And I think it's just a very kind of underappreciated musical theater, beloved, hidden gem.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved it for so long too, and I think doing it with Ben feels really special. I think that feels like a big part of what Parade is to me right now, and it's the first professional production where Leo and Lucille are being played by two Jewish people, and yeah, it just all feels very meaningful. And I think that it's funny, like it's so enjoyable, like singing the music and hearing you sing it and hearing our cast do it. It just feels like I could do it for forever. And I don't think I would say that about a lot of musicals, but I do, it's so close to my heart. And so it feels like a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having Alfred Ury and Jason Robert Brown in the room with you, what was it like during the rehearsal process?
It was wonderful. It just made it feel very immediate. Like sometimes when you do revivals, it can feel like you're kind of dusting off sort of a relic or just trying really to recreate, but having the writers present allowed us to feel like we were finding it anew for ourselves, which isn't to say we're like rewriting any of it, but I think it just, the gravity of putting it back on and the just the opportunity to have it fall on ears this time that are really ready to hear it.
Yes.
I think having them in the room kept that responsibility in our minds all the time.
Yeah, and I just look up to them so much, and they're still both so like, they feel like they're in the trenches with us too and want to be, and you know, they're kind of getting a second shot at it in this way, or third or fourth. And I'm like honored that they chose us to be in the trenches with, you know.
Why do you think this is so perfect for right now?
I think for many reasons. I think just in terms of the storytelling and the way that it's written and the way that the book and the score are intertwined, it just feels very contemporary. I think like stylistically as a piece, it was a bit ahead of its time. I mean, Jason and Alfred both won Tonys for their work, so clearly not, you know, some people really got it. But in terms of the audience, I just think in terms of the way that the story is told, that's ahead of its time, and people are really ready for that format. And then on top of that, I think, you know, anti-Semitism, as always, is incredibly prevalent and is kind of on an upshot at the moment in terms of its just pulling the blanket off of it and showing people that it's always been there. And I think on top of that, people are also ready to embrace some grayness and nuance in regards to that conversation and in regards to, you know, having the conversation about anti-Blackness and anti-Semitism in the same breath, and recognizing that, you know, this oppressive system of white supremacy affects both of these groups in different ways. And I just think that even to have that conversation, just people are a little bit more ready for that, or at least to start asking those questions. And so I think it's just, now is really the moment.
So well said. I was going to say similar. I just think it's just such a gray story, and I think if it came any sooner, I don't know if people were ready for anything other than black and white. And I hope that the more time passes, the more audiences can like just sit with their feelings. And I think Michael has done such a great job in little ways of, you know, even down to the lighting of our Act 1 finale being a kind of like blare to the audience and then in blackout. So it's like, it is just kind of being like, sit with yourself, you know? Think about it.
Definitely affronting, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Michael Arden. Michael Arden has become one of the greatest directors. I mean, what is it like working with Michael in the room when you're all creating together?
It's
So
wonderful.
playful. Yeah. I love Michael.
I think we both knew that, like, especially when it comes to revivals, he's just really brilliant at reinvigorating and reimagining and making things feel contemporary and immediate and like a real reason to see it again and see it in a new light. I thought that way about Once on the Island. I thought that way about Spring Awakening, which everyone was like, it's so soon. Why are we doing Spring Awakening again? And then it was like, oh, this is why. We're hearing the story in a way we've never heard it. And that's so true for this. But I think, I've known Michael for a long time, been a friend and admirer. And so the thing that was the nicest surprise to me, just because you don't know this until you work with the director, is like the atmosphere that he creates in the room and like the closeness and openness within the company and the real care there is for the emotional limb that everybody's going out on with this kind of material. I think that the focus has really been taking care of us all as people and then as artists, which is rare in this community. And so I think he's just very human in that way. And probably also because he was an actor and he really knows what it's like.
Yeah. And on top of that, I think when we're in the rehearsal room and kind of deep in there in the scenes, like, I just love the way there's never a stop. There's never an end to these kind of pieces of playfulness, and he brings so much joy into the love story part of this show, and it makes everything else so much more meaningful and grounded. And he will not stop adding props. He loves a prop. And it makes it easier for an actor because we have the thing, it's like there's nothing bare on our stage, which I love. I just think he's amazing.
Finally, this show is bringing so much joy. The audiences, I love your audiences at your show. I mean, you're bringing a lot of young people who had never been to the theater before, introducing them to this whole new world of live theater, what that means to the two of you.
It's amazing. I think I obviously theater is my greatest dream and favorite community to be part of, and I think that I feel really lucky that audiences get to come and see something that there's a real reason to see and that there's a real urgency to see, and a story that's really worth telling regardless of why you're walking into the theater. So if people love the Cher show and they're coming to see this, then I'm thrilled. If they love Pitch Perfect and they're coming to see this, I'm thrilled. I just think there's nobody that couldn't benefit from seeing this story.
I think that I feel so lucky seeing people after the show be so affected by it, and I just feel like I'm sharing these little gems of like stories and gifts, and I hope that Leo and Lucille feel honored wherever they may be, and how special.